Why is it important for Muslims to exercise their vote? And what part are you expecting Muslims to play in this British general election on July the 4th?
Yeah, it's very important for Muslims and citizens in general to participate in the elections, because if we don't, then the things that matter to us are going to be ignored. And politicians are, like they currently have been doing over the Gaza issues, ignore the type of issues which are very, very important and integral to us as a community.
But some people say they should not participate. Some voices in the Muslim community say we shouldn't participate in this process.
I mean, there are some. The majority of our ulema now giving edicts and verdicts and fatwas saying that we should get involved. That actually it's incredibly important that as British Muslims we are involved, that we do shape the politics that affect our lives on a daily basis. And if we abstain and don't vote, there will still be politicians who get elected and who will make laws and regulations and rules which affect us as a community. So it's incredibly important that we do get involved and that we ensure that that going forward, governments listen to the type of things that affect us and the sort of things that we would like done.
I mean, Shahan, from Wales, I mean, it's a reminder that the United Kingdom is made up of different parts. And the electoral picture is a bit different there, isn't it?
Yeah, the electoral picture is different. I mean, Muslims in Wales were about 70,000, 80% of which are concentrated in the south. And I guess Muslims in general in the UK are in concentrated pockets, and that will have a part to play considering the makeup of the type of democracy we are in the UK.
And what is the political position in Wales? I mean, it's not just a two-party race, is it?
No, actually. A lot of people think that it's about Labour and Conservative, but there are other parties. In Wales, we have Plaid Cymru, we have the Green Party, Workers' Party, we've got a new Workers' Party MP, and they are going to be fielding a lot of candidates. And on the right, we have Reform and other parties as well. So it's not just two parties. There are other parties. There are independents, and this is going to be one of the big focuses for the Muslim vote. And it'll all be up to play for, actually, in this election.
I mean, Azza, you're from Birmingham. You're based in Birmingham. Birmingham's going to be particularly interesting. I mean, together with there's a few other areas, parts of East and West Yorkshire, East Lancashire, West Yorkshire, London. Birmingham particularly interesting. There's quite a concentrated Muslim vote there, isn't there?
There is, and particularly interesting was that the very recent mayoral elections in the West Midlands, specifically in Birmingham, Ahmed Yaqub, the independent Muslim candidate that was standing there, got 70,000 votes in Birmingham, the city of Birmingham, etc. In 4 specific constituencies, if you look at the vote, he was the number 1 candidate in those 4 constituencies. And those 4 constituencies essentially are running independent candidates this time round, and they're likely to give Labour a good run for their money in those constituencies. And at least 1 or 2 could possibly become independent MPs in the coming general election.
Now, turning to you, Winzito, I mean, to ask the same question, why is it important for Muslims to vote? But more importantly, how do you see the Muslim vote playing out in this election?
I think it's incredibly important that Muslims are engaged in the democratic process, which is the elections here in the UK. It is important that all communities are engaged in elections, and the fact that some people are questioning Muslims actually joining and being part of and coming together to actually unite and to work together around the elections is really quite concerning, because it's everybody's democratic right to engage. And the other issue is, obviously, we've had politicians coming out and saying comments about Muslims like shaking off the fleas, which is very concerning, and we need to make sure that...
That was a Labour Party spokesperson, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And it's very concerning that comments like that are being made about the Muslim community, because every single vote is important. And I think this is what we need to remember, that our votes count. Our votes, just like everybody else's votes, counts. And politicians are there to work for and represent the community. So it's so important that communities are engaging so that they're represented in a way which is appropriate to them.
Now, Asma, we're sitting in the constituency of Ilford North, which is going to be a particularly interesting contest, actually, isn't it? But there's a number in London where you're based on. There's going to be a number of interesting contests, aren't there?
Ilford North was very interesting because up until yesterday they didn't have a Tory candidate, but Tories have now put in a Muslim candidate, and it is almost to kind of tank Liam Mohammed's the lead she had with the community. But the only reason like the campaign for Leah Mohammed was looking so promising because it was literally her versus Webb, West Streeting, sorry, yeah. And now it's going to be all between three of them because historically Ilford North has always been a Tory stronghold, and it was only through campaigns with Mend and MPAC that we got rid of Lee Scott and brought in West Streeting. So West Streeting kind of needs to pay attention to that because we brought him in, we could take him out. We've got a really good kind of candidate with Leah Mohammed, and inshallah it works out for her. We just need to get the Muslims out voting. We've had a few doors where we've been knocking and they're still saying Labour, and I hope everything that happened yesterday with them getting rid of any kind of whatever was left with the left wing, they've got rid of them and they're really showing their true colours.
People must be watching, for instance, what's happening with Diane Abbott, a black woman.
Exactly.
And Sir Keir Starmer says, OK, we've given her back the whip, but he can't answer the question whether she's going to be the Labour candidate in Hackney North. I mean, it's incredible. This has been going on for over 24 hours. It's a very simple thing to resolve.
Yeah.
Yes, she's going to be the candidate, but he won't say it.
He won't say it because his intentions are very clear. It's almost like a chessboard. He's trying to do a checkmate in terms of getting rid of all of the left wing. There's literally hardly anybody left. The last four candidates he's getting rid of. And last night, if you're looking at it, it's like, who have you brought in? You've brought in York, he's brought in a pro-Zionist, pro-Islamophobe, someone who has openly said Islamophobic things, and he just doesn't care. And I think the Muslims need to look at Keir Starmer. This is not the Labour Party they've ever known. This is not the Labour Party we ever knew. It's completely different. There's no clear line between the blue and the red. His policies there's no clear line between the blue and the red. They're not our friends. They're not your friends, and you need to ditch Labour.
I mean, Wednesday, just turning to you, and we're working our way going the other way. I mean, the issue, obviously, the big so far is about Gaza. But it's not just about Gaza. I mean, Leah Mohammed is campaigning over the National Health Service and other issues. I mean, this is a general election. It can't just be a one-issue campaign, can it?
No, definitely not. And there's policies on the Muslim Votes website that people can go and have a look at and engage with. And they're covering everything from education to the health service. And you have to look at the fact that the Muslim population, 50% of the population live beneath the poverty line, whereas only 18% of the overall community live beneath the poverty line. I mean, that has to highlight that there's an issue there. And we have to look at that. What are the issues here at home for us, and how do we elect people who are actually going to make a difference and take issues that are affecting the Muslim community seriously,